أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. So I welcome you all to this blessed gathering, our weekly Friday Halaqa. Alhamdulillah, these gatherings like this, as we know, we heard that hadith many times, that angels surround us and the tranquility and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends. Tranquility and mercy is something every soul, every human is looking for. And this is something we get here. This is a source of that tranquility and mercy. And I cover that. This one is from death until resurrection. I named this title, but basically I wanted to cover aspects, which not many people are aware about, and if they are aware, they are, maybe because of their families, their relatives, they hear things from here and there, and some of the information is incorrect. So these are the things which we are supposed to know. It starts from the time of death. It covers basically death, the janazah salah, and how to perform it, what are the many wrong things that people do, the bid'ah and so on, and what's the right way, what's the way defined in Quran and Sunnah, and how should we go about burial process. And I'm also going to cover the challenges that we face in this country and what the scholars have said about it, and how should we go about it in this country, and also what happens in grave, how the soul style, what's the difference between soul, nafs, ruh, and all those things that we hear. And what happens, how does it go up, how does it go down, what do angels of death do, and what do they talk between themselves. And then we have the signs of Day of Judgment, the Dajjal coming in, and he's going to fight with our Isa alayhi salam, and the Mahdi, coming of Mahdi, the signs of Day of Judgments, minor and major. And then we have the Hereafter, how it's going to be when we go there, the Hisab, Kitab, and also the final life, our Jannah and Jahannam, what people will do, which people will go in there, and what are the different kinds of punishments that will happen, what are different blessings we have. So there's a lot of things to learn. People might say, hey, these are just stories. What do I learn from this? How can I change my life? But believe me, there are so many things in there. It touches our heart. It affects our heart. It can have an impact. It can develop that fear and hope in our life that that can make us think, and that'll make us check our actions that we do. So that'll have an impact, inshallah. And as you will see, there's so many stuff coming. So I'm not just covering one book like I did for the last halaqa. I'm going to cover different books. The main book is the book by Sheikh Muhammad Mustafa Al-Jiban, the Inevitable Journey. It's a volume, he covers various stages of life. And first we'll start with funerals, and then he has barzakh, he also has sleep, interpretation of dreams, and so on. We'll cover all of those, inshallah, as time permits. And he referred to the Ahkam al-Janaiz by Sheikh Albani, and he also referred many of the books. Basically, he translated a lot of stuff from his book, the Sheikh's book, Sheikh Nasiruddin Albani. And then I also referred to Sheikh and Dr. Umar Sulaiman Al-Ashqar, Islamic Creed series, very famous book, the Aqidah series in English. And also I have a lot of fatwa sites and a lot of fatwa books that we are aware of. And if time permits, inshallah, we will also cover different opinions, not necessarily restricting to one scholar, maybe what different madhahib say and what evidences they have. There's not a lot of fiqh because it mainly deals with the hereafter issues, but sometimes, like for janazah prayer, we have a lot of differences. And I'll cover them so that we all know what different opinions are, which ones are valid, which ones are incorrect, which ones are okay, and which one is the correct, and so on. Allahu A'lam. So inshallah, we'll move on with the next slide. So human life, there are stages of human life, as you see from this diagram. And it has mainly 6 stages. It's not defined somewhere, but if we know it, it's like human life has to go through all these transitions. It starts from the birth of the child, the infant, or the baby in the womb of the mother. So first, whenever Allah decides that a baby is to be born, a child is to be born, at that point, first of all, in the first 40 days, this it is gathered in the mother. That's the process that it goes through the 40 days. And then the next 40 days, there's something called blood clot. It's in the form of a blood clot. It's all of these different phases is defined in Quran actually. And then after another 40 days, it becomes like a lump of flesh. And then after that is when an angel is sent to a woman, and he blows a spirit into her fetus. So at that point, a soul is created by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once it is created in this form, you will see that soul, it will never die. Never. Eternity, it will never die. A body dies and it can get resurrected, but a soul, once it gets created here, it never dies. And it goes through different phases here. Sometimes it has body, sometimes it doesn't. But that's why it's such an important life. A human life is so important that once it's created, it never dies. So next, what happens is, at this point also, the angel, by the command of Allah, he is asked to write 4 things for the person, for the baby. The first thing is that he will be told to write the provision of that person. Like how much is he going to earn? Is he going to be a millionaire, billionaire, or whoever the parents are? It doesn't matter, but the risk is written at that point. And that is definitely going to be exact. He is not going to die until he finishes that quota of that risk that is written at this point. And then the second thing that is written is the lifespan. How long is this person going to live? And at what age is he going to die? 60, 40, 10, 2, or maybe even birth in the fetus. And then also the actions also. If this person is going to do good actions or bad actions, public, private, how is he going to be? And also finally the fourth one, it's whether this person is going to be a wretched person or a happy person. How will people think about him? Will he be considered a good person or not? That will also be written. This hadith is mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, by the way. And some other narration, it also says that the gender is also written, but that's in another narration. So basically, that's what we call life. When the soul is breathed into this fetus, that's when the life starts. And next we come to this phase, which is called dunya, which we all know. This is what we call the mortal life, and this is when the body and the soul are together in the life. And then if you see these 2 arrow marks that I have here, sleep is another world. Sleep is another world. What happens is actually it is a separate stage, because when the body and soul are together in one body, it is called life. It is the dunya. But in sleep, when a person sleeps, this soul, it comes out of the body. It's not in the body. So this soul goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if Allah allows, then this soul comes back to the body and this person wakes up. But otherwise, that's why the scholars say it is a minor death. It is kind of a death, but it comes back. So that's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, okay, you can go back to the body, then the sleep comes back to here. This stage, dunya, soul comes back here, and then again it goes on every single day when we sleep. But then there is a final sleep that everybody has to sleep, and that is called the death of the person. So for a brief time, the person will die, and we will talk about how this soul goes again, how a bad soul and evil soul, how the angels take out. That's during the final death. And when everything is done, this person will be buried in the grave. And it's called the barzakh, the life in the grave. And at this point, initially the body, is there with the soul, but it body decays, and the soul continues to live. And it will either have punishments, or the gates of paradise windows will be opened for him, and so on. We will cover that life as well in very detail, inshallah.